Coming up on today's show.
And in the process, there was so much letting go that had to be done, both of the physical items and the emotional aspect of letting go and the physically letting go of the house, that I realized there were a bunch of things that I learned that probably could be helpful for others.
Everything was in the trucks, and you walk one more time through there, and it's like you kind of just want that one last memory. And so I can totally relate to that.
For me, I felt that my last gesture had to be something creative because I am a creative person, and I needed to be able to, in some way, process all of this through a creative process.
10 Ways That I Learned to Let Go, Part 2, today on Keeping You Organized. Hello and welcome to Keeping You Organized. Today we're going to pick up on a discussion we started last time on our last episode on 10 ways that I learned to let go. And when I say I don't mean me, I mean Linda Samuels from Oh So Organized and the Other Side of Organized, her blog. Linda, welcome back to Keeping You Organized.
Thanks so much for having me. It's so great to be back so quickly.
Well, it is. It's great. You know, 1 week goes just like that. So anyway, we want to talk, I guess we can recap a little bit, and you can help me with jog my memory, but we talked about last time the first 5 points of 10 points, and we talked about writing it down, talking with others, discussing your situation with others, also being mindful. And then number 4 and number 5, now I'm not being mindful of what we talked about. What were
4 was laughing out loud.
Oh, that's right. Laughing out loud. Yep.
And 5 was documenting the process.
Yes, documenting the process. Awesome. And why don't you just give a little backstory again on how you came up with this whole concept of these 10 items?
Absolutely. So for the last 7 months, aside from working with clients and blogging and all of that, I've also been clearing out and renovating and preparing my family home of close to 60 years for sale. It has since sold. And in the process, there was so much letting go that had to be done, both of the physical items and the emotional aspect of letting go and the physically letting go of the house, that I realized there were a bunch of things that I learned that probably could be helpful for others. Some strategies that if you're struggling with letting go, some of these might help you.
Okay, great. Well, we're on to number 6. We're going to do the second 5. So let's kick in with number 6. What is that lesson that you learned?
Okay, so if you remember going back to number 1, I said that I wrote for others. Mm-hmm. Well, number 6 was that I wrote in my journal. Oh. So instead of writing publicly on the blog, I also wrote privately. And this really helped me to process all kinds of feelings and emotions around the letting go process. And each time I wrote, I'd let go a little more. I could reflect on the work I had done or reflect about what was happening, how I was feeling about it. And it really helped me. And even though it's a private journal, I'm happy to share one passage with you if it's okay if I read it.
Absolutely.
Short, just a few sentences. So this is what I wrote. I wrote, "What I understand is that letting go doesn't mean we have to forget. It just means that we release ourselves from holding on. We release ourselves from an obligation or responsibility or expectation. We can make a bit more space in our heart and mind for new energy to flow. We lift the anchor. We sail on."
That's great, Linda. And, you know, I think it's really important when, there are some things that you don't necessarily want to write down for the public. And it allows you even, I think, to go even a little deeper. And so I think that's awesome. Okay, well, let's move on now to number 7.
Okay, number 7 was that I said goodbye with one of my daughters. And by that, I mean, she actually came with me to the house. It was the last time she was saying goodbye to it before we knew it was going to sell. And we shared that experience together. We took photos, we reminisced, we walked around the entire house. We were just there together. The physical comfort of just being there side by side. And in that process, I watched her let go and be ready to say goodbye. And that helped me to let go. Right. So again, I think earlier I talked about talking with loved ones, were they listening? but there's nothing quite the same as having the physical presence of someone that you love to go through something like this too.
Now, it's interesting. When we moved from our home, and I was in the home for quite a while, to a new home, did you have this feeling of like after everything was out, all of a sudden it kind of didn't feel like your home anymore? It was going to be someone else's home because none of your personal items were in there. It was just the shell. Did you have anything like that?
It's really interesting that you asked that. I kind of thought that would be the case because my parents had so much stuff in their house, really interesting things. They traveled the world. There was so much art and books and music and everything. But even when we took it down to the white walls and the wood floors with no art and no furniture and no photos, it still retained that feeling of home that I've always known. It's so what I realized is that the sense of home, it exists within the space. There's something about that space, the way the light was in the house, and I didn't have that experience. It's just every experience is different, but it still felt like ours. Yeah.
Now, have you gone back? So that was 7 or 8 months ago. Have you driven by the house just to kind of take another look at it, or have you been back there since?
So it was 7 months ago that I started the process.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
The house, we sold it. It sold and closed about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And so I haven't been in the house, but I have done drive-bys.
Yeah, I know. Well, it does. It's the same, and that's the way ours. We go by there, and even though it's a different family, or maybe they moved one flower from here to there, and you notice it, you go, "Whoa, hey, they moved that flower." But
yeah,
right. Okay. Well, now we're on to number 8, right?
Okay. So number 8 was that I documented the memories, and you may remember from the first 5 points, I said that I documented the process.
Yeah,
but
process.
This was a little different because that was taking photos and sharing text. For this one, the day before we closed on the house, I went to the house myself. I took my iPhone and I went around every inch and corner and room of that house, and I walked through and I took 20-second long video clips of the house. So I walked, I filmed, I talked, I remembered, I cried, and I just literally said my goodbyes intentionally and out loud. And when I locked up that day, I knew that was it. And I was ready to let go.
Yeah, right. No, I know exactly, because I remember when we unpacked or packed up everything was in the trucks, and then you walk one more time through there, and it's like you kind of just want that one last memory. And so I can totally relate to that.
So you understand that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. And when we come back, we'll get our last 2 points, the things that you've learned about letting go. We're with Linda Samuels, Oh So Organized, the other side of organized, and we'll be right back. Now there's a place just for you. Life can be busy, and you still have to keep it all together. That's why you like to be organized and in control. Introducing MyOrganized.life, a special place where you can get ideas and solutions to organize what's important to you, your important papers, your important decisions, your important life events. We show you the ideas and products to stay organized in your life. See what's new. Stop by and say hello. Visit us at any time at www.myorganized.life. It's just for you. MyOrganized.life by Smead. Find us at www.myorganized.life. MyOrganized.life. We're back now on Keeping You Organized, talking about the 10 things I learned about letting go. And we've got 2 left, and we're with Linda Samuels. She's the I in the I guess, if that makes any sense. Linda, we have 2 more to go here. So number 9.
Okay, so number 9 is providing safe passage. I don't know have you ever heard that term? Have any of your organizing crew talked about that? What safe passage is in any of these podcasts?
No, I don't think we have.
Okay, so in our industry, there's this term called safe passage. And what that means is that when you are trying to let go of things, if you find good homes, and I'll explain what that is in a minute, for your things, then you are more at ease and more at peace with letting those things go. You feel good about them. So for instance, in our home, that my parents' home, there was so much physical stuff that had to be let go of. I mean, rooms and rooms of things. And it was not easy to let it go, but when I was able to pass it on to people that would appreciate it or benefit by it, then I had no problem letting it go. And so that's part of that, giving those things safe passage. So a lot of the struggle, I see this with clients, is that they have trouble letting it go if they haven't found that good home.
Right.
And so it's important to do that, whether it's, you're donating or giving to family or friends or selling it, whatever it is. So that was one aspect of the safe passage. But the other was that the house itself, I needed to give safe passage. So it wasn't just the contents, but the physical house. And I did this just in a couple of simple ways, which is that I prepared an accordion folder of all things like the house vendors and the keys and manuals for the new owner, so that I would literally pass on, things that would be helpful for them for the home. And then I wrote them a note and told them, what the house had meant to our family. And I had left like a gift basket, like a, sweets basket. And just the act of doing those simple things helped me feel like I was giving safe passage to the home. And again, they helped me to let go.
Oh, that's so sweet. And I'm sure those new owners just love that, and, gives them a sense of pride in that ownership as well.
Yeah.
All right.
It turns out that the new owners, the husband, grew up on the block right across the street. And so he grew up knowing that house. And so it really meant a lot to us that they were moving in. Yep.
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, we have one more, number 10.
Okay. So number 10 is let go with love.
Oh.
So what this was, I can feel it just by saying it. I feel a little emotional saying it. But for me, I felt that my last gesture had to be something creative, because I am a creative person, and I needed to be able to, in some way, process all of this through a creative process. So what I chose to do was to make a video which combined words and music and images of the house and the family, both in the past and the present. And then I took that video and I shared it with our family and friends, and actually also on the blog. So if you end up linking these podcasts to the
absolutely, we will. Yeah.
Post, people can watch that video. And I called the video "Goodbye Home." And it's about love and family and letting go of that home.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of ties into one of your other things about, documenting your feelings and getting that out. And it's going to help you express those kinds of things as well.
Yeah. So doing all these things, selling the home, I mean, it was,
it's a big process in itself, right?
Quite a process. But afterwards, I felt lighter. I felt ready for next. I lifted that anchor, sailed on. Great.
Well, we're about to sail on here, so before we go, you need to tell people what kinds of services you offer, how they get a hold of you, and give out your websites.
Sure. So best way to reach me are through my websites, ohsoorganized.com or theothersideoforganized.com. And I love working with people that are sifting through the clutter and trying to let go and make space in their lives for the things that are important.
Awesome. Well, Linda, as usual, it's been awesome. We're going to definitely link to the blog post, and I encourage people to go watch the video too. I know as soon as we're done here, I'm going to run out and watch that video because I love videos. You know me, right?
I do. You're so great with the media, John. You're just like the pro.
I'm a media junkie. I'm on YouTube for hours every day anyway. So I mean, I'll love another video. But as always, Linda, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, and I'm kind of encouraged about your new chapter too, and being able to move on and letting go. I mean, that's all part of life, and these are going to be good experiences for your kids as well.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me here. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, John.
You bet. All right. Well, folks, like I said before, I'll use the line, we got to let go of this episode, and we'll see you next time on Keeping You Organized.